Welcome to Scundered. I'm Teresa Livingstone, and this is a podcast about embarrassing stories. Now, my guest today is quite simply one of the best stand-up comedians working in the country. I'm not exaggerating that. I love him. And I've already had my husband in this podcast, and I didn't give him this sort of introduction. But you might have recently seen him on Dancing with the Stars, or possibly doing tour support for Joanne McNally. He has 2 of his own podcasts. Or you might have actually seen him in the ARIA Award-nominated show, Tell Teresa. Available still on BBC Sounds. Check it out. It's Gearóid Farrelly.
Hello. That's such a nice introduction.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, and I think my favourite thing was the ARIA nominated.
The ARIA nominated. Does anyone know what that means?
I felt
we didn't.
that the ARIA night
That's an embarrassing story in itself.
was particularly... I feel like it was a real honour to be at the ARIAs, and I think by the end of the night we were like, yeah.
We're good.
I'm not sure.
Was
I'm not sure this is the honour that we think it is.
Well, we'll explain what it is because, maybe a lot of people who work in radio certainly would know what it is.
Yeah,
it's a highly prestigious radio award, but I'm not sure how much people know about that outside of the world of radio and audio.
It's like I heard about a competition yesterday, and they said it's the Oscars of hairdressing. And I was like, okay.
You can say the Oscars of anything.
Yeah.
The Oscars of bin disposal.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. And I thought it would be a really exciting night.
Yeah.
But it was just weird. And
It was weird, yeah.
I felt that we were just insulted left, right and centre.
Well, let's talk about it because, yes, that's right. So we turned up, yourself, myself and Sally Ann Hayward.
Yes.
And they had like a step and repeat. So they had like a red carpet and backdrops for photographs. And we went over, do you remember I went over to the photographer and I was like...
To get our photograph.
Would you like to get a photo of the 3 of us? And she's like, who the hell are you? And she went, sorry, this is for talent. That's what she said to me. This is for talent. And I went, you're looking at it.
Yes.
But we will slink away.
Because we were nominated.
We were nominated in the best speech comedy. Was it best comedy?
Yeah, I think so.
Best comedy programme, which was great.
And when we said to her, we're actually nominated, she just looked at us. And she looked at us way too long. And she was like, well, come back and maybe if you win.
Cheeky.
Like, maybe if you win. Maybe. So winning the award was still not enough for her.
No.
Yeah.
No. Yes,
Wow.
even if you win.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Well, there was that, and there was, do you remember everybody in the audience? There was quite a lot of high profile people there as well, but everyone was given free popcorn. And Ramesh Ranganathan came out to do, he was hosting it.
Yes.
And all you could hear was just like everybody rattling. I don't know whose idea it was. There was free popcorn for everybody in the audience. And we didn't know the order of the awards. So we were just sitting
sit and wait for
45
ages.
minutes. Like, this is it. No, it's prison radio.
Prison radio were cleaning up.
They were.
They held a sharpened toothbrush to the right throat. That's all I can say. Because they cleaned up. When we were, aggressively and rudely turned away from that photo booth, that was done in front of All Saints woman.
Yes, Nick.
Was
Appleton?
it Nick? One of the Appletons.
The taller one.
Nicole
The one who
Appleton,
was married to Liam Gallagher.
Yeah, she was standing there, and then they literally pushed us aside because they got all excited about her. And I ordinarily would have been really excited about Nicole Appleton.
Yeah.
But I was just like, oh, this is all about 1998, isn't it?
Look at the calibre of guest.
I was like, this is what it's done to me. It's made me be rude to a 90s goddess.
Who's next? Timmy Mallet. Bring him up here. Yeah. No, but do you know what haunts me about that? Like, I actually did end up having a good night because there was free champagne.
Because we were hammered.
We were absolutely hammered. Let's be honest. Yes.
Hammered.
And we didn't start the night off glamorous. You know, we started in a travel lodge. And then we went and had a wee bit of lunch.
We did. And to be fair, we were drunk enough. We were drunk enough arriving to be like, we want our photographs taken with us.
Here.
Yeah. I mean.
Yeah, there was real, we did.
The deeper we dive.
No, but
I kind of appreciate where she was coming from. That's all I'm saying.
She was right.
She was a defender of the brand.
No, do you know what haunts me the most? So the person who won in our category, she's a brilliant comedian, Laura Smith. She won for a half-hour radio show that was really heartfelt. Do you remember where I'm going with this?
It was a half hour.
It was a half hour. It's very good. Ours was a 6-part series, but nevertheless.
Never the half hour one.
We're fine. But we met her just afterwards, and this is us about 10 drinks in, and I went over to her to say well done and to compliment her. And I wanted to say, because it was really good, and I wanted to say, I laughed for 20 minutes and I cried for 10. Because there was a really sad emotional part in it. But I said to her in front of her agent, I laughed for like 20% of the time of your show. And then I cried during the rest of it. And she was like, okay. And I went, no, I didn't laugh for 20%. Sorry, no, I listened to 20% and I laughed. Then I listened to 80% and I laughed again. And then I cried at the end, and her agent was just taking her away from me. And I was like, it was really funny. It was funny. And I just remember you and Sally Ann just turned and walked away. Sally Ann was like, oh, no, I can't believe this.
Yeah. I was like, no. Like, the other thing that won that I was very shocked was, do you remember Stoma Swimmers?
Yes.
That was when I was like, I want to go home now.
You're like, where am I?
I want to go home. It was a documentary about...
Now, this wasn't in the comedy category, we should say. This was in one of the... It definitely
I'm not sure this was even a show. Like, I mean, I just...
Were they just
This sounds
swimmers?
like AI. Give me something ridiculous. Like, it was people that had stomas.
Yes.
Which is... My understanding is colostomy bag.
Yeah, that's what I...
Yeah. And they were swimming the channel.
Mm-hmm. On the radio.
On the radio.
I don't know how it works, but it may have been.
Okay. But to me, that's like...
Telling their stories?
Yeah.
I don't know. How do you know they had stoma bags if it was on the radio?
I didn't...
I know. There's just there's in a paddling pool. Shh.
But like, if you have a stoma... Mm-hmm. I presume the principle is like make sure the valve is shut. Yes. Don't take on water. Yes. But also you've got to float.
It's cheating.
I was just like, whatever way you pen this is not a documentary. Like that's all. That's the only thing I got from this was it was like they.
Yeah. Well, I mean we haven't
an ordinary person would have to hold a poo if you were swimming the channel, and those people could just let fly. I mean, I don't want to be mean, but...
I know. So it was an advantage is what you're saying.
I don't know whether it was an advantage or a disadvantage. I think they both cancelled each other out.
Yes.
Which would lead me to believe this isn't a documentary.
No, this isn't. But it won something.
It did win something
Best
and we didn't.
audio effect. We didn't win.
Yeah, maybe there was a wave machine that sounded great. I don't know.
I don't know. No, I don't know. But yes, that was a bit of crack.
But my overall memory of the night was the prison radio cleaning up. Like literally up they went.
Yeah,
and I mean, there were a lot of prisoners. There were a lot of ex-cons in that room. I didn't let my phone out of my sight.
Oh my God. Yeah. So, do you get easily embarrassed, Gearóid? Or do embarrassing things happen to you?
It's interesting. Somebody said this to me recently. It was actually the guy I danced with on Dancing with the Stars.
Oh, yeah. Oh, just drop that in.
He made an interesting point.
My professional dance partner.
Dance partner, yeah. He said, because I used to think that I was a really, smart comedian who can just turn anything into gold. Yeah. And whereas he was just like, I've never met somebody that has had so many humiliating things happen to them.
I love it.
Yeah, I mean, that is an absolutely fair point.
Yes.
So I do think that embarrassing things just do happen to me, and I
feel like that as well. Maybe that's what gets people into. It's a way of dealing with it because you're like, if you're not laughing at it, you're crying.
Yeah, I think as well. I think you get more out of the embarrassing stories.
Yes, absolutely.
Like if we'd have gone and had a lovely time.
There'd be nothing to say. I know. If we'd won, I'm so glad we didn't win because it wouldn't be a good story.
No, I think we should have won.
Yeah, we should have. It was brilliant.
We did deserve to win. I mean, a half an hour is a half an hour and 3 hours is 3 hours. I don't care how great she was. She won the award. Did I feel the need to listen to it? I did not. I did not. Apologies to whoever you are, but I didn't.
It was I listened to it that morning, so I think I knew she was going to win. So I thought I better hear this, so I could.
Really?
Yeah, I know. What sort of a people pleaser am I?
Yeah.
No, but so Stephen, your dance partner, isn't it
Yeah,
Stephen?
yeah, he just made the point, and he was like, a lot of things happen to you. Like it's just in the 4 months we've been dancing, it's like, oh, there's a lot.
Well, just in every day, not just dancing.
I think it's just that maybe I attract it, or maybe I just don't shy away from it. Because they know, there'll be something in this.
I do wonder, because I would say the same about me. And I always, when I'm telling people, I'm like, does this not happen to you? Does this not happen to you at this frequency? It doesn't seem to happen
Some people, I think, put out a vibe that if you screw with me, you're in trouble.
Yes.
Whereas I think I'm a little bit, I don't know what the
You're
word is.
A little bit more bouncy. Like, he'll be fine.
Yeah, I have bounce back energy. Somebody said, actually, one of my friends on a podcast said, I have widow energy.
Widow energy?
Yeah. It's just like resilient old lady energy.
He's been through the worst.
I've been through, yeah, exactly. Yeah, you can't shame me. I was like, okay, fine.
But was there anything embarrassing in the dancing aspect of it?
Oh
or
my
was
God,
it
every single bit of it. Like every single bit of it was totally humiliating.
Oh, really?
Yeah, right from the start. I mean,
you're very
loved
vulnerable when you're doing it.
Every second of it.
Yeah.
Every second of it. But you get really, like, everything that my body tells me was I had to go against.
Incorrect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everything was wrong.
Yeah.
Like, even the fact that, like, Stephen was straight, I'm gay, and immediately it was like, you've got to, like,
address it.
touch tips.
Yeah.
That's 2-man ballroom dancing is your touching tips. And it's like, there's no...
Yeah. That's weird if you're straight anyway. Like, for everybody.
But the thing about it is, dancers are just like...
They're so used to it.
Yeah, like, so they would... Like, 2 straight dancers would be like, oh, I just want to choreograph something, come here. And they would just do it. And so, like, the whole thing of masculine, feminine, it just doesn't mean anything to them in regards to the dance world. Everything is just completely technical.
Yeah, yeah.
Whereas
for mere mortals, it's
mere mortals who are just...
Could you not touch me there, please?
Yeah, I was just... and my feeling the whole time was like, oh my God, I'm going to be Harvey Weinstein. Basically.
It's going to be an expose at the end
like
of this.
in 6 months' time, we're going to be in court, and Stephen's going to have a doll, and he'd be like, "This is where he touched me." And I was just so.
I'd be worried that I'd start to read into it too much and be like, "This guy actually really likes me." Oh my
God,
God,
in love. We are in love.
I'm going to have to. I don't know. I'm going to have to have a wee word with him. Like,
it was. Yeah, it was fascinating.
But that's just me and my narcissism.
And then you get so used to it that it becomes like your
language.
I don't even know whether it's a like brotherly relationship or what it is, but you get this. It's a very
yeah.
It's like the most.
It's intimate, but not
incredibly intimate, incredibly non-sexual. It's really weird. So yeah, but like we would be doing like the ballroom frame, and he would be like, "Gearóid, pee to me, pee to me." I was just like, sorry.
He liked to say that.
Like he was just very. Yeah, he was great.
Yeah.
He was great to work with. Yeah.
That's
He's one of my best friends now. He's just like
I know you can tell that. I think you can tell whenever people are sort of. It's a bit of a show for like we have to get on for the sake of it. You could tell you two were like.
Oh yeah, some of them hated each other.
Oh, did they?
Yeah. Yeah,
just
it was really fun.
Smiling through teeth.
Like you'd see them like with their arm around each other for like they hate each other. They absolutely hate each other. It's hilarious.
It's like me at my school formal. I had a guy who took me to my sixth form formal who was way shorter than me, and he was a really, really nice guy, but he kept trying to do sort of like grand gestures that would fall flat, and I just wasn't that into him anyway. So there's loads of photos of us like that, sort of like his arms all the way around me, and I'm sort of like patting his head.
Yeah.
And then when we got to the formal, the 2 most popular people in our year that were a couple. And the guy picked this girl, Mary, up and spun her around the dance floor. And everyone was like, oh my God, they're so cool. And I could just see this guy out of the corner of my eye looking at me. And I was like, oh, no. And he bent down, put his arm under my shoulder, or under my armpit, right? And I just stood bolt right on the dance floor. And all I could hear was,
oh no.
And it was him trying to pick me up. And I was just hitting him going, just please stop, please stop. We just like walked off the dance floor. And I was like, never touch me again.
Yeah.
That's how I imagine I would be on Dancing with the Stars.
Well,
I'd rather pick the partner up.
He's stronger than you think. That's what I will say about Stephen. He was well able to lift me loads of times.
Oh, but sure, I can imagine that.
Then at the start, I was very like, I didn't want to do anything, too feminine or anything flouncy or, just to be really, it's two men dancing
I'm
together.
going to be neutral.
Yeah, but then like you get 2 weeks in and you're like, twirl me like a princess. I was
Give
just
me a
like, I
fruit for my
loved.
head.
Yeah, he was brilliant though.
Oh,
but he was
brilliant.
very like as you go on in the competition, you start to get much more confident around it.
Yeah.
So I was just like, why can't we do anything like sexy?
Yeah.
Because a lot of other couples were doing that. And Stephen was even like saying to the producers, like, let's do a rumba, which is like
the ultimate one.
ultimate sexy dance. Because he was just like, yeah, let's not shy away from it. And also he's done rumba with men before. Like it's no big deal.
Yeah.
But they wouldn't give us a rumba. But and even they kept dressing me like, I don't know, like Marty Morrissey. Like I was just. I remember we were doing this Latin thing and they couldn't find a shirt. And I was like, I'd kind of lost a bit of weight and it was like week 8 or something. And they were like, oh, we'll just find a shirt. And I was like, well, a lot of the other dancers are just wearing a jacket. I could do that. And they were like, no. No. No, I think, no.
That's going a bit too far.
They were very clear.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were like, no, Gearóid, no, you seem to be forgetting you're disgusting. No, we just, no.
Have a look at yourself.
Yeah, no, go over there now, look. Do you want to pay a license fee and look at that? No.
Get your jumper back on you.
Yeah.
Get out there. Oh, no, I loved it. But yeah, I can imagine it feeling embarrassing, but there was no sort of like embarrassing incidents actually in the middle of...
When we got voted off, it was... Yeah, that was bad.
No.
Because what happened when we got voted off was we were doing this routine, it was like a Charleston. And when we got into the studio, we did our first camera run through and it was fine. It was like, whoa, normally I used to shit the bed on the camera runs. They were a disaster.
Yeah.
And poor Stephen would be like tearing his hair out. God love him. Like those Saturdays were awful. And like, I remember on week 2, he used to give me these little rhymes in my head to remember the steps.
Right.
And I remember in the cha-cha in week 2, we had this thing where it was like I had to put my arms out and then pull my arms in and then do this kind of ball change and then point, I think. And Stephen used to say it was like trolley, fuck it, ball change, something, whatever the end of it was. But he was getting so frustrated because I was literally doing nothing. And like they're very careful about how people are treated and like they're really good.
Yeah.
And he was slightly frustrated and he was like, no, it's trolley, fuck it, and everyone was kind of like,
from the side.
I think he's broken Stephen. Like I think he's the most placid man. It was really fun. But when we got kicked out, what happened was there was an orchestra that week and I was supposed to like spot Stephen on a bench and go, I'm going to chat up that guy. And then give like the conductor a big and large €50 note. Yeah. And then he was supposed to play something funky and then I was supposed to go and dance with him. So when we got putting the dance off, we had to do that during the dancing, the Charleston, Gearóid Farrelly and Stephen Vincent. So when we got into the dance off, they don't play that voiceover.
Right.
And that was
so
when I had to do. And we were waiting in an ad break. And I just didn't know this. We were just waiting to dance. We were like, oh my God, we're going to get voted out. And we were on separate sides of the studio. So had I just said, Daddy, help. There's no voiceover, he would have told me what to do. Yeah. But I just didn't realise until it was too late there was no voiceover. And then I didn't know what I was doing. It was so... And I remember at one point, we were dancing and then Stephen just looked at me and just went... like bad, as in like we're about 2/8 ahead, so we're just going to stand for those 2/8. And I was just like, oh my God, this was so and he was able to he helped and fixed it and but it was just so embarrassing. Oh no. And then when we went up to the box afterwards, they were like, so do you think you're done enough to stay in the competition? And I was like,
oh yeah,
clearly not. Why would you ask that question? So that's what we were. But that was very embarrassing.
That is funny.
It was very embarrassing.
I have to be honest, because I love Strictly and I don't often watch Dancing with the Stars. I made an exception this year, obviously.
Thank you.
That cringes me out so much. The bits before the dance start, I hate them. I'm sorry to tell you, I hate it. You know all that bollocks around like reading a newspaper, folding it, and like.
All of the popping
a balloon, all the wee bit of business before. I'm like, oh, stop!
It's just give me the
get
steps.
Into it.
The ones that I found difficult were the ones where we were had to be emotional, because I didn't realize how dead my face is. I genuinely thought I was quite an expressive person.
Just resting bitch face.
Until I saw myself dance.
You described it. So it was so funny what you said in your first, I think it was the first week when you said you watched the tape back and you looked like a dog with his head out the window.
Yeah.
Which is really funny.
It was just so embarrassing. It was so embarrassing. And you do like a dress rehearsal on a Sunday afternoon and then they do the press photographs at that.
Oh, right, okay.
Because they need to get them out in time.
Yeah.
So, and then when you do it in the evening, like that's the live show. But in between, I met the press photographer. I was just coming out of the canteen and he was like, Gearóid, what are you going to do about your face? I was just like, what do you mean? He's like, I took 100 photographs.
Look at this.
Completely unusable. Like, I mean, they're just...
What will we do?
I was like, what?
First your check.
I thought I was being like, real smell the fart tango face.
Yeah.
But I was just like...
Next.
Yeah.
Boring.
Bored. Awful.
Oh, God. Well,
yeah.
I loved every minute of it.
Oh, thank you. I had a ball. It was the greatest thing I've ever done.
Yeah. Now, back to embarrassing stories.
Embarrassing stories. I know, I'm dreading telling an embarrassing story.
Well, tell me, what is your embarrassing... Like, do you have one when people are... When you constantly tell, one that you tell over and over again? Maybe
It's the single most embarrassing thing that can happen to anyone.
Oh, God.
Is that I accidentally sent a picture of my knob to my family WhatsApp group.
I swear to God, so I've asked people in other episodes, like, would you rather, send a dirty text into the family WhatsApp group or to your boss? Like, literally, I've asked this, and I've never met anyone who's actually done it.
Yeah, I did it.
Where did you send it again?
The family WhatsApp group.
Oh, for fuck's sake. Oh, my God.
And I didn't know, it went for an hour. It was there for an hour. And then I went, oh my God, and I deleted it. And nobody
have
ever
people
mentioned
seen it?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, but just nobody spoke
Nobody
about it.
spoke about it. I mean, it's possible they could have seen the photograph without seeing it, but I don't know how.
Oh, no.
You
could have started out like, does this look funny to you? I'm just wondering, should I go see a GP?
It was genuinely one of the worst nights of my life. Because what happened was, I had a stomach bug for 3 days, right?
Right.
And I was really, like, sick. Mm-hmm. And at the end of day 3, I was like, oh my...
Just going to take some photos.
Yeah, I need an adrenaline rush. So day 3, I started to feel okay. And I was like, oh, I'm going to go down. I'm really hungry now. And I went, I live beside a pizza place. And I was like, I'm just going to go down and get a pizza. I'll go down and get a pizza. I was coming back in my apartment in the lift and I ran into this woman I didn't know, but she was really upset. Okay. And I was like, what's wrong? Oh my God. This story is...
Every part of it, I'm like, pizza. Okay. An upset woman.
Gets worse and worse and worse. So she was really upset and I was like, what's wrong with you? And she said, oh, I got this foster kitten.
Okay.
And it's after falling off my balcony.
Oh my God.
Now, this was a ground floor balcony, right? But it fell off the balcony and it's gone into like I don't know how to describe it, but like the bowels of the building, like not the basement of the building, but like the kind of outside foundations.
Okay, yeah.
So I was like, oh God, that's awful. Like, obviously a cat person. I was like, well, what do we do? Like, and she was like, well, we're going to try and get in and get it. Mm-hmm. Like, but we need get people to help. And I was like,
get your knob.
Oh, I'll help. Yeah, get your. I was like, I'll lower this in. you can crawl up it. So I was like, oh, okay. So I went and I put my pizza up into my kitchen. And I came back down to help this woman. And there was another one of my neighbours there and this woman's partner.
Right.
So we were kind of pulling back this fence underneath the basement.
Yeah.
And we could see like that there was an area underneath the building. And we were like, what's in there? Do we know? Like, and they were like, oh, we need somebody to go down. Mm-hmm. Like somebody has to go in to get the cat. And one of the guys was like, I don't really like cats now. And I was like, well, I like cats. I can go down. But I didn't want to go down. Because I was like, there could be live wires. You don't know what.
Yeah.
Yeah, anyway. So we decided we'd lower the woman down. Okay. Because like, it's your cat. Like...
the fuck am I going in for?
What am I going in for? And I was like, all right. And then she kind of didn't look comfortable. Mm-hmm. And then she just whispered to me, I think I'm pregnant.
Oh my God.
And I was just like,
and it's yours.
You lying bitch. I know exactly what you're doing.
Yeah.
I know exactly what you're doing. But me and my little hips were chosen so they lowered me down underneath. So it was like there was water like up to my ankles, like, and I got down, there was like these piles of gravel, and at one point I was like, this is weird now because I'm getting over these kind of gravel mounds that are quite close to the ceiling, and then I was like, what if it falls. What if?
Oh my God.
Anyway, it was very weird. But I was in there for an hour.
Jesus.
And this cat, I could not get this cat. It just wouldn't come to me. It just kept running away. And I was chasing this cat and I was slipping and falling. And
Oh my God.
I didn't know what was in there. But I was soaked.
Yeah.
Right? I was absolutely soaked and disgusting. So, eventually I decided the cat has to die. I'm sorry.
And I'm going to be the one to
This
do
cat
it.
has made its bed.
Yeah.
So we'll just
Can
leave
stay
it there.
here.
Yeah. So I decided what I would do is I would just throw food down to the cat. You know. So I did that for a couple of days afterward, like pour a bag of food
Couple
down.
of days.
Yeah, just it was
Oh
like,
my God.
Yeah, just, you know. Anyway, I should have killed the cat.
Yeah.
Basically, this cat cost me, believe me. So they lifted me back up and I was soaked.
Yeah.
I was like
Traumatized.
just traumatized
Yes.
from the whole experience. The woman was really upset because like, our cat's going to die. And I was like, well, maybe it'll find a way out, or maybe we'll be able to
You're gonna have a
get
baby,
somebody
you're
to go,
right.
you know, we
Yeah.
can set a trap. We go to the vet or something, see if we can get a trap, and, you know,
Cats
all of these
don't wanna be
conversations.
helped.
But she was
Yeah.
just like, anyway.
Yeah.
So I went back and I got my phone, and my mother had texted me to see how I was, and I had told her I was going for pizza, and she said, "Did you get your pizza?" And I went back up to my apartment while I was reading this, and when I got to the door of my apartment, I just took all of my clothes off in the hall. So I was butt naked in my kitchen, just going, "Oh God, what a night!" And my mother texted me and said, "Did you get the pizza?" And I was like, "Yeah, I got a pizza, but I still haven't eaten it." And I sent her a photograph of the pizza on my counter.
Right.
Without realising, perfectly framing my beautiful willy was the microwave door. And I sent it in to the family WhatsApp group, and it was there for
An hour.
easily an
People are
hour.
like, what does he do with the pizza?
The saddest thing about it was, like, because people, when I tell that story, they're like, oh, they thought it was like a sexy, like I'd sent a sex. I was like, no, that would be so much better.
Yes.
It is so much better to send
It's just a little bit
sexy,
sadder to be.
Yeah. Also, to have been in a cold basement for an hour,
God.
to be soaking wet.
I cannot tell you how many red herrings there were in that story.
I know,
where
yeah, it's
I was
wild,
like,
isn't
and
it?
is this why you sent a picture of his
Is this
dick?
what? Yeah.
Who were you sending it to? That makes perfect sense to me now that you've told
That's
it.
how it happened. It's quite an innocent story.
It is.
But sometimes I think the reason they didn't comment was because it looked so bad.
They just didn't want to know
I think
what
if
was
they'd have
going
thought,
on.
if they were like, if they'd been looking, going, that's a great dick. They would have been like, stay to you sending this to the family
family.
WhatsApp group. But now everyone's just kind of like, it's actually a bit sad.
Going to
bit
phone
sad.
dancing with the stars
Like,
and
I
say, we
would've-
don't want to see
yeah,
that either.
no,
Cover
that's-
him up
yeah.
from head to toe.
So it's a very embarrassing
Oh
story.
my God,
And
Gearóid.
also, every so often, I do have a moment where I just wonder if my mother saw it. Oh, if she was like, God, there was so much potential and it just turned out so badly. And
I think if it was in my family, we would have all been just looking at the pizza. We're a big food family, so I'm not sure your mother would have been
maybe
like,
they didn't go
"What?"
further than the pizza. Maybe they were like,
didn't.
yeah.
I would get distracted. Like in real life as well, if I had the choice, I'd go for the
You
pizza
go-
every time.
every single time. Every
Yep.
time.
Yep.
Yeah, no question. Yeah.
So you are, I mean, I am not a cat person. I know you are a cat. You're a very
Yeah,
much.
I am a cat person,
You
yeah.
are. You work for one.
I do, I work.
You work for Boots the cat.
She just never fails to
It's so
surprise me. All the time. I'm completely surprised. Like like people just send her loads of stuff.
Oh really?
Yeah, she has this real little personality. Like this woman recently knitted her bonnets.
Oh really?
So she sent her three like knitted hats. And obviously like you get them and you're like, oh, I must do something with that. Like send a photograph
Yeah.
or, you know, whatever is you're supposed to do in that situation. And so I did that.
Yeah.
But now Boots is just like she comes with her bonnet in her mouth and you like put it on me. And then so you're like,
Diva.
put the hand. And she's quite content to sit there with a hat on. And it's weird.
Yeah.
Like it's really weird.
It's also quite depressing when your cat's getting more
Oh, yeah.
attention and
I don't
traction
get anything.
online. I know.
I don't get anything. Every so often I'll get like an email from my agent. There was a PR drop, and I'm like, "Oh, grand! Like, what did I get? You know,
Cat food.
cat food, or Pet Mania, or what else? Felix the cat. I remember there was a big thing.
yeah.
Robbie Williams,
Yeah, doing the music.
doing the
for it.
music. I was like, well, they're before the grace of God go any of us.
Career's going well. We had a cat and a dog when I was growing up, and everybody in our house hated the cat. I still don't know why.
They get a bad rep.
Oh my God. This cat in particular has ruined all cats for me. I now like them. I'm not
Yeah.
bad with them. But this one cat they sort of take vendettas against individuals, and I
Yeah.
was the one. So at every opportunity, like if I was sharing a room with my sister, the cat would come in, find my pillow, shit under the pillow, leave. Like he would seek me out. And we were sharing a room on holiday once with the cat with us because nobody would take it. And I woke up in the middle of the night to hear my sister being sick because we'd like been out drinking. And I could just hear this like... So I put the light on, and it was the cat had found one of my shoes all amongst this shit everywhere, just being sick in my shoe. And I was like, what is wrong with this fucking cat? So when I lived abroad for a couple of years, and the cat had to be put down, right?
Okay.
He'd come to the end of his... We'd all come to the end of our tether. For
Yeah,
years,
exactly.
like
We've come to the end of our patience. And
it was almost 2 weeks to the day when our dog had to be put down. So when our dog
God.
was... Yeah, there was a lot of death in the family that year. But when the dog was being put down, we were all being... Like my dad rang me so I could speak to the dog over the phone. And I was like, I love you, Megan the dog. And people were crying. There was candles being lit. And then 2 weeks later, I just got a text saying, the cat's dead. I was like, all right.
yeah,
letting me know.
the cat's dead, and your mother was just rinsing a basin. Job done.
Yeah. Finally got rid of it. Yeah.
It's interesting. I think what I find so compelling about cats is they're not always readable. Like dogs, they will always give you the same reception.
I know.
You know, it'll always be welcome. They'll always be excited to see you. They'll always give you love. Whereas
Yeah.
cats could be excited, or they could just literally walk by you.
Make you
you
work
never
for
know
it.
what you're going to get. Yeah.
Well, that is exciting.
Yeah.
Keeps you on your toes.
Yeah, I think so. And I think I think that's part of their charm, because then when they do give you a bit of affection, you're like, and it's literally scraps.
Yeah.
Like it's literally, oh my God.
Just a bit of direct eye contact.
She walked over me and didn't look at me. You're like, oh my God, I'm such
I am
a
the
special
chosen
person.
one.
Yeah.
But I'm not used to them. I think that's my problem. And I'm like, because I am around a dog an awful lot now. And whenever I see people with dogs, I just go over and start like,
I know,
I'm
yeah.
one of those annoying people.
I love them though.
Oh, yeah. Labradors. I've got a Labrador.
Dogs are
He's
just
mental.
Yeah.
But somebody brought a baby into the office that I work at the other day, and I realised now I've spent too much time around dogs because I went over to that baby and scratched it behind his ear. And I was like, hiya.
This happened to
And they
me.
were just like, what are you doing? And like took his dummy out and was like, go get it.
Yeah.
Just threw it across the office. I don't know. I think I'm starting to do it with humans as well. I'm sort of like, how are you doing? How are you?
I've noticed that. I was staying in a house in Edinburgh last year where they had a new baby. It was about 8 months, and it was, you know the way, like a lot of babies are pricks.
Yeah.
Like this was a nice baby. Like it was like I liked spending time with this baby.
Yeah.
Connell was his name. And I used to
Connell.
like...
He sounds like a 25-year-old
He was really
baby.
cute. Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Paid
But
his way.
I used to like rub the back of his neck the way I would rub my cat. And I would say, oh, you're the best girl, even though it's a boy, but that's what I say to my cat. And I would say, what was the thing I know. Yeah, at the time that it just did not go down well was I picked him up and I was like, oh, I'll give your daddy kisses. Because that's what I always say to the cat. And they were like,
You're not
his daddy.
That's weird.
it's weird. Put my child down. But I was saying to my brother recently, because they have a new baby, and I always feel very nervous of holding new babies.
Yes.
Because when I hold my cat, she will give me a minute. She'll go like, cuddle, like do whatever you want to me for a minute.
And I don't kiss on the
And
mouth.
then she goes, tap on your chest. And I'm like, yeah. And I just throw her. So whenever a baby taps me on the chest, my automatic instinct is to throw it. And I'm terrified I'm going to do it. And I can feel the compulsion.
The
urge. It's like that compulsion in you as soon as they tap your chest and like
God.
throw. So, yeah, it's not great.
No. Oh my word. Hang on. I need some water. I'm absolutely boiling to death.
It's nice, but it's warm.
It is. It's nice but warm. I'm trying to think of more embarrassing stories, but I don't. The thing about my embarrassing stories is they're not always just a story from start to end. They're just an everyday part of my life. So like I fall down an awful lot. I get people's names wrong, but I've got great spirit. So
Speaking of names wrong, my mother-in-law's dog died last weekend, and I sent her a message. I was like, I'll just say,
sorry.
Yeah. So I said, hi.
Here's a photo of me with a pizza.
Yeah.
Just cheer you up.
Yeah. This will cheer you up.
Don't look in the background.
I just said, hi, sorry, Jack died.
Mm-hmm.
You gave him a great life. Kiss, kiss. I was like, that's enough.
Yeah.
But instead of saying Jack, I said my boyfriend's name, which is the name of her son.
Oh no!
And I just sent it to her, and
What a way to tell her.
I know.
Just
and I left it for an hour. Again, an hour. And I was just like, why hasn't she replied? That's really rude.
You couldn't have lifted the phone.
Really rude. And then I just went in and I edited it.
Okay.
And I just changed it. I don't know if she saw it or not. But I do think, well, I'm hoping she didn't. I hope she didn't get like a notification and see it. Because then I'm just messing with her head.
Yeah.
I'm just like, no. I just edited it.
But you see, that's the thing. When dogs have human names, this is going to happen. Because if someone had heard you wouldn't have known. Because like I said, like our teenage household, we had a dog called Megan. And I did not know for years that when I was talking about my dog to like people at school, I never said she was a dog. I'd just be like telling stories about my like sisters and brothers, and I'd be like, I do material about it as well, so this is really hacky. But I'd be like, our house was mad this weekend. Like Shona was on a date, Nuala was out at a wee party, Megan was in heat, you know. Just locked her in the kitchen. But I met somebody from school like years later, and she was like, because I was always talking about this dog was ruining the house, so I was always telling stories about her. And someone was saying to me, well, how are the family? I've not seen you in ages. I was going, oh yeah, we're great, everyone's great. Shona lives in Australia now. And they were like, Jesus, how's Megan? I went, oh, she's long dead. Yeah. Anyway, nice seeing you, bye. And they're like, my God. So yeah, dogs with human names, this is what happens.
Yeah, it's the other thing about that is if he died, that is the way I would tell him. I would tell her.
Kiss, kiss.
Yeah, I would be like, you collect
his stuff. A good life.
Yeah, his stuff is in a bin liner. Here's a Revolut request for the funeral.
I'll give you 68 weeks to get out.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I don't know. Like the thing about humiliating stories is they live longer than stories where you feel great about something.
That's true.
And I always feel it's a more fun life experience than
Yes, I agree.
Like imagine if we'd won that award.
Yeah, I know.
We probably wouldn't even know where it is.
We'd forgot, yeah.
Yeah.
It's like whenever, and sometimes, there's so many that sometimes somebody reminds me of one and I'm like, oh my God, that's brilliant. Because my sister found all these emails recently from when I was living in Spain and I was trying to find somewhere to live. And I'd forgotten about this because my Spanish just wasn't very good. I was trying to find a new apartment. So I was just walking around anywhere where I saw, I think the sign is say alquilar, say aquilla, means for rent.
Oh, right, okay.
So I would just phone the number and say, soy interested in your apartment. Can I come and see it, right? And I was walking past this ground floor apartment one day with the big sign. And as I was ringing it, somebody stuck their head out the window and was like, are you interested? And I went, oh, yeah. And he was like, well, you can come in and see it now. And I was like, oh, my God, thank you. Now, I was on my way back from the beach. So I had like flip-flops on. I had sandal over my face and I had loads of like plastic bags with like shopping and stuff in it, right? And he was like, so this is the area. You've got a big open front here, windows. There's a bathroom in here. And I was just like, in my wee flip-flops, just going, it's lovely. It's lovely. It's a very open plan. It's gorgeous. And I was like, when would it be available? And he's like, it's available immediately. I was like, oh, that's brilliant. And he says, and what do you sell? And I was like, So it was a shop for rent. And instead of just going, all right, I went, clothes. I sell clothes. And he's like, and he said, is that what's in the bags? I was going, no, I'm a designer. And just I was using like GCSE French vocabulary or Spanish vocabulary, just trying to lie my way out of it. And then was never able to walk past that building ever again.
I know, yeah. It's the electric shock that you get, like when you remember something, you're like, oh my God, I've forgotten about that.
I completely forgot. But yeah, I used to fall down all the time. And I got stood up in Spain. And I think, again, this was a language barrier. I like to think it was a language barrier, obviously. Or I probably got stood up. There was a guy, a Cuban barman, who was absolutely stunning, right? I didn't know his name. I still don't think I know his name. But anyway, I got up the courage, i.e. had a bottle of wine, and decided to go and ask him just to go out for a drink, right? And he said yes. And we arranged to meet in the bar, in the restaurant that he worked at. And I was like, well, that's weird. But okay, yeah, sure, we'll meet here Friday at 7 o'clock. He's like, Friday at 7? I went, yeah, great. Got all dressed up, told everybody, like everyone I know, I've got a date, I'm going to meet this Cuban barman. Turned up at the restaurant and then sat at the bar for like about 10 minutes. ringing him or just sending a wee text going, I'm here, see you whenever you get here. And then I asked like the bar woman, I was like, is whatever his name was, Carlos. Actually, I think that was his name. I said, is Carlos working tonight? And she went, no. But she was like, why are you meeting him? And I said, yes. And she went, no, he's not working tonight. He'd be in, if he said he'd meet you, he'll meet you. I sat for an hour.
Oh no.
And then was just like, I'm just going to call it. I've been stood up. So I left the bar and thank God I bumped into a friend. I was like, I've just been stood up. And they're like, come on out, we'll get a wee drink. And as I told them, they were like, are you sure he didn't think you were making a reservation for Friday at 7? And I was like, I may well have been. I'm not entirely sure. But my Spanish isn't good enough to actually go and find out. So I was like, well, if that's what it was, that's good. Then I'm not humiliated, right? So he didn't stand me up. I was making a reservation. Fine. And about 2 weeks later, it was my birthday and I decided to have a party on the beach and I invited everybody to come in fancy dress. I was a lot in my 20s. I was like, everyone has to come as something that begins with T. So come as a whatever, I don't know, come as me, right? Just come dressed as me.
God.
I was so all about myself.
Tea.
I was having a tea party and you had to come dressed as something that began with T. And I got down to the beach first, which had a big walkway. It was like a city beach and dressed as a tiger. And decided to set up the area with drinks and everything. So I started to dig a hole to put all the drinks in and sort of keep them out of the shade. And didn't the barman come walking along the paseo? And there's me on my own, dressed like a tiger, digging a hole in the sand. I looked up. We just sort of locked eyes, and I was like this, and he just looked away and pretend like he was sort of like, lucky escape. It looked like I was making my own litter tray to take a piss on the beach. I was like, why is she dressed like Tony the Tiger?
But also, I love how you have decided that if he thought it was a reservation, there's nothing to be humiliated about.
Yeah.
That is really embarrassing. Maybe you're just desensitized to the story, but that is...
Yeah.
That's wild.
Table for 2 at 7. I'm being all like, I'll see you then. He's like, right, she's very turned on about this dinner. I'll look my best.
Did you ring the restaurant to make that reservation?
No, I asked him face to face. So he was working and I walked up to him and because I'd always sort of been giving them a wee look, which he probably thought was check, please. I thought I was flirting and he was just like, there's that customer. And I was like, would you like to go for a drink with me on Friday? This was in very bad Spanish. And he went, yes, what time? And I said, 7 o'clock. And he went, here at 7 o'clock? No problem. That's what he said. Here at 7 o'clock? No problem. And I now think, I'd like to think that I had a table booked for 7 o'clock. Not that he was like, get me the fuck away from my phone.
I think you had a table booked.
I had a table booked, yeah.
Yeah.
But, well, if I hadn't, when he saw me digging a hole to take a piss on the sand, dressed as a tiger, that might have been the end of it. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. He was probably glad that maybe maybe those looks, maybe he was thinking of asking you out and maybe...
And then he saw that and he's like,
I know.
Better not. I know.
Yeah.
No.
I know.
Leave her where she is.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Yeah. No, she's happy. I wouldn't be I wouldn't be able to make her happy. I don't have the skills.
She's one of those ones, those people who dress up as animals? What do you call them?
Furries, I think, isn't it? Yeah.
Maybe I am.
God almighty, like that's... I bet you those people don't feel a day's humiliation. That's what upsets me. Like that, like there are people. We
have to be embarrassed with other things.
I will spend an hour getting ready for something. Go, why don't I just buy something? Why don't I have nice clothes? And those people they're no problem. Like they just out
like
they go.
Adult babies or whatever.
Strap me into a harness, dressed as a Teletubby. Yeah.
I cannot be embarrassed.
Yeah, that's enough.
Oh my goodness. What about school? Girl, do you have any is it nothing but embarrassing stories?
I have a lot of embarrassing stories.
Mm-hmm.
One embarrassing story that I have is, I have a lot of them actually from school.
Yeah.
But one that does stick out is I was a bit of a Karen when I was at school.
Okay.
So I used to write, when you do business studies and you learn to write a strongly worded letter of complaint.
Okay.
I used to complain about things. Like I would write
to the staff.
To
other pupils.
To
dear madam.
About products. Like
oh right.
Yeah,
to businesses.
I remember one time we couldn't open a jar of Maxwell House. So I wrote this strongly worded letter.
Put it down, mother. Oh yeah, I'm taking this into my own.
I was threatening to sue them, for emotional distress. It was out of control.
Yeah.
And that lady, she showed up at the house
Oh, what?
Yeah, like this representative from like Kraft Foods.
Oh my God.
Yeah, she showed up and she wanted to speak to who she thought was my dad.
Jesus, what did you put in the letter?
Oh, it was like this emotional distress.
Oh my
under
God.
the Sale of Goods Supply of Services Act. I
was all your school notes.
Yeah, I was just like left lie.
Oh my God.
And she showed up at the house, and my mom was like, couldn't put it together. She's like, no. She said, we did have a jar of coffee we couldn't open. But I'm like, I don't remember anyone writing a letter. I was like, I wrote a letter, and Mom was like, okay.
Oh my God.
And she just left me to deal with this woman. And then bizarrely, she kind of invited herself in and was there
Did you ask for ID? This does not sound like someone who worked for Maxwell House.
No. We're a very trusting family, and I don't think we should be.
No.
Like, something else that happened to me recently was my car died. And it was I was talking to one of my friends about it recently, and what happened was I was doing a radio interview in Dublin, and when I came out of the radio studio, a light came on in my car, and I was driving home, and I was like, I'm going to be a really responsible adult, as opposed to driving with a light on.
Where I'm just like, what that means. On I go.
6 months.
Yeah.
I called into a garage. So I just called into a garage, and they were like, they had a look at it, and they were like, yeah, your car's screwed. Your car's dead. And I was like, oh, okay. And he was like, yeah, we can take it. And that was it.
Charge you $5,000. Yeah.
Oh,
you mean it was just unsalvageable?
And I was just like, oh, it was, that was it. That was game over. The car is dead. But
what's that?
I didn't question it.
Yeah.
And then it was like months later, like I went, like I essentially gave them the car for almost nothing.
Oh my God.
And then I bought a new car. And it was only somebody said to me recently, like, whoa, hold on.
Yeah.
Whoa.
This is dead. Look away. I don't want you to look at it anymore. Yeah. We'll just cover it up and take it away.
I was just like, this.
That doesn't sound right.
I drove in.
Yeah.
I drove my car in.
So you didn't say what happened or.
Yeah, no, they said something piston. So I don't know.
Oh my God.
And I was just like, oh, okay. Oh, well.
But I feel like that. I do feel like anything to do with cars, I am just like, they must see me coming, because I'm trying my best to not be a typical woman driver and sort of like, no, I know what I'm talking. But like, I took my car for an MOT once, the first time I ever did. And they said, can you put your fog lights on? And I was sitting there for like 5 minutes. Beep, beep, like putting the windscreen wipers on. And then I hung out the window and went, my car doesn't have floodlights. And they were like, fog lights, you dick. And I was like, doesn't have them either. And they're like, it does.
I get so embarrassed though. Like, I was hoovering my car at one of those, the air fragrance, whatever stands in a Circle K, and I was in there, I was hoovering it, and there was a car pulled up behind me, and I could feel myself starting to sweat.
The pressure.
Because like, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know how to use these man machines.
Yes, I know. Just swinging things about.
Yeah, I'm just like,
I know.
I just want to drive. Yeah, I just want to drive.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I never feel like more of a together adult than when I have put windscreen wash in my windscreen washers. I drive around like I own my own business. I'm so like, I have got my shit together.
I know.
Because I'll drive for months with nothing but flies all over the windscreen.
That garage. And the more I say it, the more it just...
What did they take from you?
I put windscreen washer into my windscreen wash bottle thing. And that'd be very articulate about cars.
I know exactly what you mean.
I put that in, and they said that it clogged up the whole
engine
car, and then they had to replace loads of stuff. Yeah, I spent loads of money on it.
What did you... We see, I actually can believe this, because see, when I was coming back from the Fringe last summer, we got on the road, and I just put a wee scoosh of wash in the windscreen wipers and instantly couldn't see anything. And I was like, I don't understand what's happening. Pulled over the road, just kept squishing the thing.
Yeah.
Neither of us know what the fuck we're talking about. And I'm pretty convinced I bought car wax and shampoo and put that in the windscreen washers. And I had to just let it run. Like, for the next wee while, I was driving, throwing a bottle of water around the front of the windscreen and then trying to use up all the wax. It's still not right.
Oh, so my God.
I know. I nearly died.
I went about 6 times. I went. And I had to pay every time where they had to flush this. And
God.
Yeah.
I don't look after myself that well. Never mind the car. Yeah, I would, But I can't ask questions. That's what I mean. I'm just a bit like, oh, whatever you think. Yeah, whatever you say. Yeah.
Whatever you think yourself. It's the worst thing you can say to a mechanic.
Whatever you think. What do you think?
Yeah, what do you think? Yeah.
Well, like when I was in Spain, I had a car that used to routinely break down, and it eventually did burst into flames, which is an entirely different story. But things used to fall off it all the time. It was a piece of shit. And both the wing mirrors had fallen off it. And I was like, well, it's now completely illegal to drive this. So I didn't want to drive it. So I just parked it and I walked to a mechanic's and walked in, again, broken Spanish, and went, hi, my car has no, and I was trying to think of the word for wing mirror. So I went, my car has no ears. You know the ears on a car? My car doesn't have ears. And they were just like trying to give me a wee glass of water to sit down. They're like, and do you see your car now? I was like, yes, it's clearly not here, but it has no ears. So I've left it at, like in my Spanish, I've left it at home because it has no ears. They were like, please go, please leave.
Please leave. You can't help you. Oh God. Yeah, I the more I tell these stories, I've never told them together. But now,
but I love it. It
I really feel
does make
I've
me
been
feel
at
better.
the end of a pyramid scheme for quite some time.
What have I been doing?
Yeah.
Right, we're going to finish with, we see this is the Would You Rathers. I now feel like you'll have done all of these since you've actually done the dirty text into a WhatsApp group. That's amazing. Your family. Okay, I'm going to ask you Would You Rather.
Okay.
And you can tell me
but
which
also,
one.
Just because I did that doesn't mean I'm happy about it.
It's the first thing you tell everyone.
Another...
Hi, I'm Gearóid. I send pictures of my dick to my family. How are you?
If there was another course of action,
you would have taken
I probably would have taken it, yeah. Just knowing what I know now.
Okay, I'm just going to ask you two. So here's the first one. Would you rather accidentally like an ex's Instagram post from 5 years ago or write their name as your Facebook status? Do you know what I mean? Just published it. Yeah. This is a very boomer type question because it mentions Facebook.
I'd much rather like
an
the old post.
Would you? Because that is my biggest fear. Because
really?
I do. Oh my God, I do an awful lot of snooping. I like to go back and sort of. I know far too much about people who I shouldn't know anything about at all.
Oh yeah, but that's what the internet's for.
I know, but I will always. I'm like, I've got big clumsy fingers, so I will constantly like.
I think I was talking to somebody about this. I think you have a window. Yeah, I think you have a like window
before they get a notification.
Yeah.
I'd like to know what that window is.
Yeah, so would I.
So I can sleep at night.
I do. I think there is a window. The worst thing I've ever done with an ex, and I did tell this actually in another podcast recently, but it's bad.
Okay.
During COVID, I used to go running at night, and I live by the beach, and I used to run on the beach, and one of the things I used to do, and I'm not proud of this, but it was a dark time.
You do, but you
I used to kick over the sandcastles that had been made during the day.
Totally fine with that. Yeah.
I think that's fair enough.
Yes.
So, two bad things happened. One, I do remember a time when I kicked over a sandcastle, and at the car park was clearly the kids who had made the sandcastle.
Was one of them dying or something? They're like, Billy's last piece of art.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, oh my God, I think that's the family. And it was...
There's a grown man over there.
Very embarrassing. But anyway, I just ran on.
Yeah.
The second time that and this is more embarrassing, I kicked over the sandcastle and it was a rainy day.
Yeah.
Not a rainy day, but it was just like, I think it was wet or something. But I ran on anyway, and I was kind of covered in sand.
Yeah.
And I ran into an ex-boyfriend and his current partner.
Okay.
And I started a conversation with them because I was like, we're going to have a conversation. We're two adults.
Yeah.
And they seemed really horrified by me. Like they seemed really like, this is outrageous what's happened here. And I was just like,
did they see you do it?
I don't know if I don't think they saw me do it.
Oh, right, okay.
But I was like, why are they being so weird? And I was like, no, I'm taking my heels in and we're having a proper conversation like grown adults.
Yeah.
Which we did. And then I eventually left and they seemed like glad to be rid of me. Uh-huh. And then when I got home, I realised that at some point in kicking over the sandcastles, I'd actually kicked over shit. Dog shit.
Oh my God.
And there was like shit, like dog shit all up my leg.
Well, as you can see, I'm doing very well without you.
That was how I realised the first time I had COVID, because I couldn't smell it.
Oh
but I came home and I opened the door and my boyfriend was like, what happened to you? And I was just like, what? And I realised there was literally shit all over my legs.
Oh my God.
So I don't know whether they... I have no idea what they thought. He's had a breakdown. He's shitting himself on the beach. I was apparently stinking.
And just all, how you
they
doing?
Were just like, what's going on with this man?
Like, I don't need to ask why that relationship
Yeah.
ended.
Yeah.
Oh my God, Gearóid. Yeah, that's the one I'd still be thinking about.
Yeah, it's bad. Yeah, I do. That is the one that every so often, like at 4 o'clock in the morning, I get up to go to the loo and I'm like, and I know I'm not getting back to
happening
sleep. Yeah.
Oh my God, that's brilliant. Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Second one. Would you rather have your search history published or your teenage diary?
Search history.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
What's wrong with me that I'd rather have my teenage diary?
Yeah, it's like Willie's Tupperware
Pizza.
storage solution. Recipes
You
for
don't publish it right now?
yeah, recipes for creme caramel.
Did you
Like,
Did you have a teenage diary? Did you keep a diary? Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it a tough read?
Yeah.
Yeah, so's mine.
It's bad.
It's dark.
I there's about like maybe 6 volumes of it. I know where they are. It's my worst nightmare. It's my worst nightmare that
somebody gets
And also there's one, as I got older, like I remember there was like all these pictures in the back of one of them of like hot lads from Smash Hits.
Yes.
So there's like Adam Rickett standing beside a load of tires.
Oh, I think I actually know exactly the photo you're talking about.
And like A1.
Yeah.
Who else? Like boy bands. They're all Stephen Gately, of course.
Yes.
All in the back of this.
In your diary?
I found it recently, and I want. I don't know why I haven't, but I want it obliterated from the earth. There's no. I want to burn it. I just don't have a
I
fire.
bet there's some good material in there.
It's not worth it. You know, like you see, like a lot of teenagers or a lot of comedians who read like the teenage diary on stage. It's like, oh no! If you can do that, you didn't have a proper teenage diary.
Yeah, that's the thing.
You just weren't being honest.
I found mine recently, and it was one I kept when I was like 14 to 16, which is a wee bit. It's quite old, so there's a lot of changes going on in a young lady's life, and discovering things. And I was reading it out to my sister, sort of laughing, and she was like, "It's just making me really sad."
Yeah,
I was like, "Oh God, it is."
You think these things are going to be funny, and they're not.
No.
Like I remember once when I wasn't allowed to stay up to watch The Golden Girls, and I wrote a song about suicide, and I left the lyrics in the bathroom. Like I was just like, I was a very dark child. Like it's not funny. It's
I
not.
was the same. Well, I have already mentioned this before. I wrote a song for peace, obviously, and you know that's how people know me. I was on local TV.
Oh my God,
but
that was incredible.
I tried to follow it up. So it's very hard, difficult second album. I tried to follow up the song. So I wrote a song for peace in Northern
Ireland.
Ireland.
Natalie Imbruglia after Torn.
Exactly. And because it got so much traction, I was like, oh, what else is going on in the world? So I wrote a song for Rwanda. This was like in 1995 or 6, called Hold Out Your Hands and Give. It's so awful. It's making me sick think about it. But the lyrics are something like, all they need, hold out your hands and give. Too many people have died. I don't know what I was asking people to give. Hold out your hands and give. All they need is love to stay alive. And I was like, I think they need food and water and some proper security, maybe. But all they need, what are you talking about? I'm like,
did you mention Rwanda in it?
No.
Is that because you couldn't rhyme anything?
Well, Rwanda's really hard to rhyme with.
I need Amanda rescue Rwanda.
Hey, Amanda, you heard what's going on in Rwanda? Hold out. Oh, I can sing the chorus again. Oh, awful. So just cringe. I would have song lyrics and things like that.
I'm just so glad that it was so expensive to record yourself and that we had no money. I'm glad I didn't have a camcorder.
Absolutely.
Like, because
I would have been all over the internet.
Maybe 3 selfies that I took with a camera. Mm-hmm. That's all that exists.
Yeah.
And I'm fine with that.
Yeah, I'm exactly the same.
There's no more, no
Leave
more
it in the past.
Exist.
Straighteners weren't invented at that point. I looked ridiculous.
Imagine being a TikTok kid.
No, awful.
And then looking back at 40, I'd kill myself. I wouldn't be able to take the shame. I wouldn't. I wouldn't. I would just...
Over that or the Golden Girls. Not being able to sit up and watch the Golden Girls.
Exactly.
Right, we have to stop now. I think we've gone on for too long. But this has been a lovely therapy session. Thank you so much.
I've thoroughly enjoyed it.
Good. You've made me feel better about myself. So, where can people catch you?
Instagram at Gearóid Farrelly. I've got a podcast called Agony Rants and a podcast called Chatting with Cherubs, and I have a Substack.
Oh, you have a sub? Oh, yes, you've started. Right, we've no more time.
I love a Substack.
Yeah, very good. You're an excellent writer. Go and see Gearóid. He's absolutely amazing.
You're amazing.
Oh, thank you.
Your Edinburgh show, I just want to say before we go, was the best thing I saw in Edinburgh last year.
Really?
Yeah. Now, I saw a lot of shite, but that's not...
not saying much.
No reflection. Aww. No, it was. I absolutely loved your Edinburgh show. That was brilliant.
Oh, thank you.
Absolutely brilliant. Yeah.
Okay. We'll leave it there. Thank you.
Bye.